Retro Gamer Nation recommends Radar computers for your retro gaming theme merchandise, including mouse mats, mugs, badges and keyrings, all made to a high specification. RGCD Publishing has been one of the leading retro gaming publishing firms since 2012, predominantly supporting the new generation of Commodore 64 gaming. RGCD regularly organises the C64 16K cartridge game development competition, which encourages hobbyist programmers to develop and submit their own game creations, with the caveat that the game file size does not exceed 16 kilobytes. Powerglove and Tiger Claw are two games that were originally submitted for the RGCD competition in previous years, with both games later undergoing revisions to further enhance their respective gameplay and production values before being published by RGCD as independent C64 games in their own right. Lazy Cow, the developer of both of these games, recently became motivated to port across both games to the Commodore Amiga platform and collaborated with RGCD once again to produce physical editions that any avid Amiga enthusiasts would be proud to add to their collection. The physical editions of Tiger Claw and Powerglove Reloaded for the Commodore Amiga are very well presented in a plastic clamshell box that feels great in the hand and looks even better on your game collection shelf. The outer sleeve features professional grade artwork on the front and the spine, with the game summary and screenshots presented on the back. It is important to note that the system requirements for both games is an Amiga 500 with 1 MB RAM or better, with the games being bootable from floppy disk and CD. The games are also hard disk installable on systems with more than 1 MB of RAM. Looking at the contents of the physical editions, we can see that the Tiger Claw package includes the game diskette, a couple of postcards, a couple of small badges along with a rubber ninja star to throw at your least favourite child, some vinyl stickers, a professionally printed 20-page A6 manual, and an auto-booting dual-case CD that not only contains a copy of the Amiga game, but also includes the C64, Windows, Mac OS and Linux versions. The CD also contains copies of the game's music soundtrack in MP3 format and game maps. The Powerglove Reloaded edition is packaged in a similar fashion, and as a result includes the game diskette, a couple of postcards, some vinyl stickers, a professionally printed 16-page manual, and an auto-booting dual-case CD that also contains a copy of the Amiga game along with the C64, Windows, Mac OS and Linux versions. Like Tiger Claw, this CD also contains copies of the game's music soundtrack in MP3 format and game maps. Both versions of the game also come with a matte-coated A3 size poster of the game artwork, which I have framed up here. Let's now load up Tiger Claw and see how it looks. Tiger Claw offers 24 single screens of martial arts platform fighting action that will no doubt remind you of the classic Bruce Lee game for the 8-bit systems. The basic premise of the game is that you need to go around punching and kicking a whole bunch of bad guys so that you can retrieve 4 mystic scrolls that will stop 3 Lords of Evil from obtaining their full power and unleashing their hatred upon the world. Compared to the C64 version, we can see that Tiger Claw for the Amiga features updated character graphics and enhanced background art. The character sprites remain small, with animation being somewhat restricted. Personally, I am a sucker for this type of look, even though I understand that it comes at the cost of the gameplay, as it can be somewhat tricky to nail an attack on an enemy. Fortunately, the characters do move around the screen quite fluidly and at a slick pace. Jumping and movement controls are responsive, and you will probably want to use them to good effect, as Tiger Claw utilises one of my least favourite features of gaming: respawning enemies. As a result, there is no incentive to risk losing a life by engaging in a fight with an enemy if you have the option to run or jump your way around them. The backing soundtrack has also been updated and the tracks all sound great. Tiger Claw provides an option for you to choose a difficulty setting of the game, while also allowing you to engage in some multiplayer action. game also allows you to play using a C64 skin mode. Tiger Claw for the Amiga is a good port of the game. It does provide a bit of fun play, but it is challenging at the same time. The game features power-ups that you will need to collect in order to progress through it, and this is the level design that keeps you playing all the way through to the end. Let's move on to Powerglove Reloaded. The backstory to Powerglove is that the world's energy supply is being satisfied via two polar thermal reactors. An explosion in a northern polar thermal reactor has destroyed all primary and secondary energy connections, and contact with the engineers and rescue robots has been lost. Without an energy supply, the death of billions is imminent. So you need to put on your fancy blue suit and guide your way through the polar thermal reactor complex. Navigate the network of transport tubes, locate 6 control diamonds that will engage the station's backup system, and blast away every rogue robot that stands in your path. Powerglove Reloaded does feel like a proper upgrade over the C64 original. The visual enhancements are far more apparent as the graphics are more colourful and quite well defined. Along with smoother character animations and parallax scrolling, it is easy to forget the game's 8-bit origins. I enjoy 2D run and gun games, and Powerglove Reloaded is no exception, especially since you can control the pacing of the action and enemies do not respawn when killed. The Amiga version has an expanded game world covering 6 different sections and includes boss battles. Controls are responsive, though you will need to take note that the game uses inertia physics when landing after jumps, so you need to factor in momentum when jumping from one platform to another. Sonically, Powerglove is very strong, with techno-type soundtrack pumping in the background, pushing you along the way, and the inclusion of some digitized speech fits in well with the overall theme. Just like in Tiger Claw, Powerglove Reloaded includes a C64 skin. Powerglove Reloaded is a strong title for the Amiga that provides challenging gameplay which requires you to memorise the layout of all screens in order to progress through the game.
Access key.
At only £15 each, the physical editions of Tiger Claw and Powerglove Reloaded offer great value and are worthy additions to your retro gaming collection. why don't you head on over to the RGCD webshop to place your order. If your budget is a little tight, then you can obtain a digital download edition from RGCD's itch.io page.